Do I even want to know how you got in here?
No. No.
Do you have any idea what time it is?
No. We don't sleep, remember?
What?
You can't possibly be this dense, can you?
What are you talking?
You have all these people now. Where's the Q&A?
First, Q&As are lame because I can literally just reply to any genuine question, and second, all of these videos I've been making is literally getting to know me.
I don't care. Just make something similar then.
Whatever. Just get out of my room. And in fact, I'll call it
Thoughts I have when I lay on my bed, or insomniac thoughts. Now, this is a list I've been compiling since Valentine's Day. This is way more intimate because a lot of storytime YouTubers do this concept of like random thoughts, but as you can see by this drawing right here, I can't draw for fucking shit. And this is the best way for you to get to know me, even though I don't know why you would do that, but here we are. Now, before I actually start going over my random thoughts, I don't condone any action or anything said in this video. I'm very stupid and I enjoy committing every single stupid shit that you can ever think of. Just keep that in mind. By the way, if you're curious why I keep looking down, it's because I have everything written down on my iPad. So that's why, yeah. Every single video and every single thing I talk about in this video will be in the description below. So starting off very strong, hypothetically, and I have a lot of hypotheticals in this entire list. So this is the first one. Hypothetically, if I put a Blue Lives Matter sticker on my car and I go insanely over the speed limit, will I get pulled over? There was a TikTok video of this woman who, I think it was before, like, she was going to like some big music festival, and like she was basically peeling off from her car progressive stickers. But in the comment sections, people saying, oh, like, that's really, really depressing. And she was like, oh, I know, I don't really want to, but she said like, oh, I get pulled over more if I have these progressive stickers on my car. So bouncing off of that one specific video, let's say I decide to put one of those stupid Blue Lives Matter stickers, just like a small one, just like on my trunk. And I go, like, if the speed limit is like 35, but I go like crazy over, will I hypothetically get pulled over? Or would the cops see it and be like, oh, like, they're in the know, like, they know, and like just completely like brush it off? Because there are a lot of like don't tread on me license plates. Using that video, and I put that sticker on my car, even though I don't believe in that messaging or whatever, and go insane speeds, would I get pulled over? Blue Lives Matter is very fucking stupid. I think it's very stupid. Moving on. How in the literal fuck did I survive my fall semester of junior year in college? Because even I'm still fucking shocked I was able to do anything that fall semester my junior year. This was before Christmas time. I was taking like high level courses like in my major, and I was also taking like high level electives also. All my classes started piling up during that fall semester. I sort of waited until like the last couple of like weeks to like finish everything before it was due. Some days I was just straight up just skipping classes, just straight up lying to my professors, saying like, oh, I'm sick, even though like I was literally just trying to catch up to other classes. I had to write 3 different essays, 3 whole essays. All 3 essays were over 16 pages combined, and I think that was one of the worst times I ever had to mentally and physically go through. I was not eating properly. I think I stopped completely going to the gym at some point, and I was only eating really shitty food and drinking energy drinks and diet soda. That's all I did.
Fill our bellies with diet soda.
For some strange reason, during that time period, I had just clips from the TV show Friends constantly on replay on my TV while I was like blasting the Nutcracker on my MacBook while I was like typing away like all these papers.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I was so unbelievably brain dead to this day. I can't really listen to Christmas music because it will send me back to that time during fall junior year. Thinking about it now, I don't believe I could go back and and do that semester again. I genuinely believe if I had to go back and do it, I would genuinely fail that semester. I was a completely different person during that time. Moving on, how do moderators work and where does one even find them? Like, do I just DM the first ever person who subscribed to me on this channel and ask them, so do you want to be my mod? How does that work? Do I just have to hire somebody to be my mod? Because like, if I want to have like a Discord or a Reddit, how does that even work? Listen, I'm learning as I go, so this is kind of like a strange new thing for me. So this is another hypothetical. Because our president is a felon, does that mean every government job can get rid of the barriers for felons because the highest and most powerful position is held by some guy who's a convicted felon? And hypothetically, to go further on that, if they decide to get rid of the barrier for convicted felons, what kind of felonies would be like okay in order to get said job? Because hypothetically, a felony can consist of everything from murder all the way up to tax fraud, which the orange guy did in America, and I believe this is the same as everywhere else. If you are a convicted felon in America, you cannot get like high paying government jobs, and if you like work some minimum wage job, you can't get raises either. But I think murder is like a iffy line because you're straight up a convicted murderer. Like, that's different. Hypothetically, how would that even work? And if it did work, what would it even look like? Because they might get rid of the massive amounts of tax fraud felony, but not the convicted murderer felony. But it's all a part of the thing. Moving on. Now, let's get into some video games. In LA Noire, in every level, I think, you can find these bloody knives, but they're well tucked away, and it's like an achievement if you find all of them. But what is the overall mystery pertaining to those knives, if there is one? Because every single mystery you partake in connects to an overall story of like the drug dealer and like corruption going on in like 1940s LA. Right? But I feel like they could have done something special with those bloody knives you found. Like, there could be like a side story of like, oh, there's like a tucked away investigation that ran cold back in the 20s or 30s about a serial killer going around and like killing people and stuff like that. And that's why every single level there's these knives like tucked away. And for me personally, when I played LA Noire and like I found those bloody knives, that thing kind of just like stuck in the back of my mind. And like, that could have been another achievement. Like, oh, solve the overall mystery of all these bloody knives or whatever. Alright, here's another hypothetical. Now, bear with me, because this is kinda complicated, but also not really. Hypothetically, if someone builds a real-life time machine and somehow manages to go back in time, what would be the rules so it doesn't create a time paradox? Because every movie and TV show creates a different scenarios of the rules of time travel. What TV shows or movies have the correct time travel rules, and if so, how would we know? I feel like this is more of like a trial and error kind of question. What specific rules do you need to follow so it doesn't create a time paradox or doesn't mess up anything? And this specific hypothetical messes with my mind every single goddamn time, because every single movie and every single TV show always changes the rules of what time travel should be. And I think time paradox is a real thing, so hypothetically, any movie or any TV show that has time paradox rules, I'm pretty sure are the most realistic. But what about the TV shows and movies that basically say like, oh, if you decide to time travel back when you were born, you can't see yourself because that'll like mess up the timeline. Or if you go back and people who already know you and see you, oh, that'll mess up the time travel rules also. I don't know the answer to that, and I don't know how to like explain it, because time travel isn't real. We don't know how to go back in time and like figure that out in real time, because it's not real. You can't time travel because it's not real. Moving on. When it comes to fanfiction writers, what do they do outside of writing? Like, what is the percentage of all fanfiction writers who want to be actual writers to those who are doing it because it's a hobby? Yes, I'm going to be talking about Arcane in this video. Sue me. Ever since Arcane ended, I have been feeling for something more. Pivoted from watching Arcane every single day to now reading AO3 fanfiction. Yeah, listen, you can say whatever shit you can say about AO3 and like people who read and people who write fan fiction, alright? But I'm a firm believer in fan fiction. Like, that's an entire different story. Okay, so I've been reading a lot of arcane fan fiction. There's this one fan fiction, I'll link it in the description if you're curious. The fan fiction writer tweeted about how they're taking the bar exam. Yes, that literal fucking bar exam. The fucking exam for lawyers, for people to actually become lawyers. The next day, after updating the fanfic, can you imagine? You hire a lawyer, right? And like you're sitting in court, the judge is right there, but the person you're trying against is like on the other side with their lawyer, but then your lawyer comes in and said, "Oh, sorry, I was trying to update my fanfic." What even goes through your head at that point? "Oh, sorry, my lawyer is a fanfic writer, that's why they're late. Sorry guys, sorry." When I saw that tweet, I was in a sense shell-shocked when I saw that tweet, because I realized, what are these people even doing? Needless to say, I am so goddamn curious to what that looks like, and when I get more and more people on this channel, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to eventually put out a poll to all fanfic writers and ask them, do you want to be a writer? And if not, what is your profession? But anyways, moving on. What do hot Cheeto mozzarella sticks taste like? Because I watch a lot of TikTok, and back in 2020, people were making all different kinds of recipes. They were making dalgona, but something consistent I was seeing was hot Cheeto mozzarella sticks. That's it. That's the thought. Anyways, whenever I rant, my mouth gets really dry. So onto the floor it goes. On TikTok, there were a good amount of videos talking about how casinos should add Uno to their tables. First of all, how would the logistics of that even work? If the house needs to have some kind of advantage so players aren't walking away winning every time. Because Uno is just like a people card game, right? Does it need to be like a round-based kind of casino game? Or does it need to be like, oh, at one point, no wild cards or something like that? I feel like it's gonna be towards more of how many rounds you're winning. Because if you're winning like 5, 10, 15 rounds, I'm pretty sure the casino has to step in. And what about other games like Go Fish or Sorry? Hypothetically speaking, would Monopoly make the most sense at a casino? Because then that way, not every player is winning. And some players just straight up just go bankrupt using real money instead of using like fake Monopoly money. Because then that way, the casino can still have an advantage over the players. I am so curious now. Ever since I saw those videos, besides Monopoly, what other like kids games could be added to like a casino? Because I think Dave & Buster already has a type of Monopoly where you can play. Alright, another hypothetical time. Let's say a person gets canceled and loses their job, right? Where do they go after all of that? Now, just the context. Back in the summer, Taylor Swift had her Eras tour, right? At one of her concerts, one of her security guards that were hired started getting a little rough with one of the patrons at the concert, and of course that guy got fired. I think that night or the next day he got fired. He was just completely let go. Where do these people go after they're straight up canceled? Because I know for like celebrities, for YouTubers also, they go away for a longish period of time and then they come back like nothing ever happened. That's what happened with James Charles, I believe, and so is Shane Dawson and all these other people. But like, where does all these normal people go? Where did the security guard go? Where did Justine Sacco go? If you don't remember, or if you don't know about Justine Sacco, she tweeted, "Going to Africa. Hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white." She straight up tweeted that shit back in 2013. Everybody knew about that. While she was on the plane, she couldn't really see her tweets, right? People were tweeting, "Justine Sacco is over party." When she touched down, she saw that her tweet went mega viral. After she tweeted that and essentially butchered her PR career. Like, what is she up to nowadays? It's just something I would think about. In My Hero Academia, at one point, some people started developing quirks, which is literally just superpowers. So if that happened in our world, how many years or decades into the future future must we go for people to develop superpowers? So in the world of My Hero Academia, if you weren't born with a superpower, you were basically like you weren't normal, because having powers is the norm. Unless you're Izuku Midoriya, who has one for all, which is essentially how the Wikipedia says it, stockpiles one's power, increasing the user's physical capabilities and being transferred from one person to another. What is the logistics for that to even happen? Because in My Hero Academia, if you're a person with superpowers, you can go into like any kind of trade. You can work for the fire department, you can work and stuff like that. But if you want to be like a straight up superhero and want to help the government with like supervillains and stuff like that. Oh, let me get to that. You can get a license to be like a straight up superhero. I think it's internship style in My Hero. Let's say you're born with superpowers in real life, but you don't want to be like a superhero, right? You just want to fuck shit up and like be a straight up supervillain. How would that even work? Would they just be straight up acting like robbers and like stuff like that? To go further on that point, let's say a supervillain is like screwing shit up. Who would people call? Would people just call randomly like 911 like, oh, a supervillain is in the store like stealing a bunch of shit and killing people? Would superheroes, just like in My Hero Academia, be under contract to the government, or would they be under contract to the police? Moving on, we're gonna do 3 more things and then I'll keep making more of this. Here's the first one. Any animal with an eye patch instantly becomes infinitely cooler. But only some people can make an eye patch look fucking cool. For example, Nick Fury. But if he didn't wear an eye patch, he would not be as cool. Here is my second one. It's a really long one, but stay with me. Hypothetically, if the world ends either through nuclear apocalypse or some other type, and if after many decades later, would the world fall back like in medieval times or fall forward where we advance way futuristically? A follow-up. Would a real-life world-ending disaster be closer to a Mad Max situation or a Fallout? Or would it be a combination of both? And here's another follow-up. Would planes and helicopters still be a thing, or would people just be stuck in, let's say, their home country? Let's break this up one by one. The reason why I bring up medieval times is because when the Roman Empire fell, it basically essentially went way back. Like, they almost lost their language, and it was just completely different. Or would it be like a Fallout kind of situation, where a nuclear apocalypse happens, but we spring forward way futuristically, where we have like futuristic weapons and futuristic technology, where we can have like flying cars? I feel like it would be a combination of both the medieval times and the futuristic technology times, because Christianity is slowly becoming our national religion, and that's a very big thing that happened during the medieval times. It's the huge eruption of like Christians. The second one is because we are slowly edging closer and closer to the way of having flying cars. Let's do the first follow-up. I am certain that if the war completely ends, it's going to be a full-on resource war, and we're going to have current technology. I do believe that they are slowly developing laser weapons, because in a written article saying that right now our government is currently working on that kind of technology of harnessing solar panels to create a ginormous laser weapon. Now, the final follow-up. I do believe that planes and helicopters would still be a thing, but I feel like gasoline would be an essential resource, because like in Mad Max, gas and water is like very valuable. However, the majority of the airplanes and helicopters would have already been destroyed by the nuclear blast, but not all of them, if you get what I'm trying to say. Alright, last one. Wingstop has better boneless wings than Buffalo Wild Wings. However, Buffalo Wild Wings has better bone-in/entrees than Wingstop. Buffalo Wild Wings, they have better entrees than Wingstop, because they have chicken wraps, chicken sandwiches, burgers, tacos, quesadillas, and stuff like that. But Wingstop, they only have one entree, which is their chicken sandwich. Alright, that's it for part 1. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be making much more videos like this, so stay tuned. To answer this comment in the Valentine's Day video, my mother gave birth to a woman. Me. But I know what your mother gave birth to.